Kiwis love being outdoors, so why not transform your outdoor living space with a sun view? With our quality range of stylish pergolas, outdoor blinds and awnings, having a sun view is like adding a new room to your home, but for a fraction of the price. Enjoy the outdoors all year round with a range of products to suit your needs. Book a free consultation now with Sunview and see the difference.
Look, every so often we check in with our next guest, who I think Isabella's going to ring, and we talk politics. And it has been a very interesting time in politics. Indeed, the text machine and your response to my question, Jacinda Ardern, good or bad, and boy, Stuff have poked the hornet's nest on that by publishing yesterday a critical letter from Sir Ian Taylor and then the responses to that letter. And maybe, just maybe, the woke editorial bosses at Stuff, maybe they are reading the incoming as a result of that Ian Taylor letter, and maybe they are having a come to Jesus moment and realising, and this is all the people who write for Stuff, oh, not everyone liked Jacinda Ardern. And they're not all misogynist, evil people, they just didn't like her. And she screwed with some people's lives. That will be an absolute penny drop moment on the editorial, in the editorial chat rooms of Stuff, won't it? And other left-wing media. But as I said, look, I greatly enjoy every so often just catching up and shooting the breeze with Chris Trotter, old-style lefty and political commentator, historian and academic. And he joins us on the line now. Chris, how are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Sean.
Des Gorman, did you meet Des?
No, don't think so.
Yeah, I loved his stuff. It was very sad to see him pass away the day before yesterday. And as I was saying, Chris, he's one of those who fell foul of the kindness of Jacinda Ardern. Because when she was kind, but when she wasn't, boy, she wasn't, was she?
Well, no. I was really quite surprised. Oh, well, no, I wasn't actually quite surprised because I knew she was part of the anyone but Cunliffe clique in the Labour Party. But of all the people that she could have devoted to pages to, she chose David Cunliffe. I mean, that was the one person in the Labour lineup that she kind of singled out and gave a good hiding. And I thought, crikey.
Yeah.
I think there are a few more ahead of old David, him in the queue.
Yeah. Look, let's get to the moment. Look, the Takati Tashkent, that was a real shock, her death. Seemed very sudden. She had been battling kidney disease. And quite rightly, Parliament, and there was a pause and everyone does the right thing. What does it leave, though, politically? It leaves a by-election in her seat, doesn't it, Chris? A very contestable by-election.
Well, it does. And it leaves Labour and the Maori Party with some real head-scratchers, because something has got to be arrived at by way of a modus vivendi, as the Romans used to say, a way of living together with each other, or not, as the case may be. Because the easiest thing for Labour to do, and this has happened in the past, is just not to stand somebody. In other words, to say, hey, look, you won the seat for 3 years. This was a tragedy. This woman was in Parliament for a relatively short time, but had contributed hugely over her lifetime.
Yeah. They only just won, and there are still serious question marks over how they won.
Well, yes, it was a very narrow victory, and as you say, a less than clear understanding of what actually happened out there in Tāmaki Makaurau. But that said, as the Romans also said, speak only good things of the dead. But it still poses this problem. Does Labor put up a serious candidate and aim to take the seat back? Or does it kind of play games with MMP, which you can do, by essentially gifting 6 or 7 seats to the Maori Party, pretty much regardless of what their
so it would run a
is.
no contest in a by-election.
Well, I'm sure other people would stand, but if Labor didn't stand, Te Pāti Māori would take it at a canter. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there is no other alternative. You're not going to get some National Party Māori revival.
No, I wouldn't have thought.
Okay,
so.
though some would say they seem to be pitching to that electorate. If you see what Erica Stanford's been doing lately. Would you agree?
Nice try, Erica, but no cigar.
Yeah, no cigar. All right. Now, here's my question to you then. So what are the downsides for Labor? What are the upsides and downsides of contesting or not contesting?
Okay, the upside is that you win the seat back. This is Labor we're talking about. You win the seat back emphatically. You make it very clear that you want to win back all the Māori seats, and that as currently constituted and given its current policy stances, Te Pāti Māori is not really a viable coalition partner, and you just go full tilt down the field for the touchline. That's one option. The other is, as I say, you play games.
And what's the upside in that of letting them keep a seat?
Well, there are upsides in the sense that you've got a ready-made 7-seat strong partner, one which may actually produce an overhang in the House, which would be to the advantage of the left, in a strictly theoretical sense we're talking here, because, voters aren't dumb.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going to be able to see what you're doing. The downside is that the rest of the country, and let's not forget it's the party vote that counts, folks.
Yeah.
The rest of the country looks at Labor doing this deal.
And says you're just as bad as those mad mullahs in the Maori Party.
And and says, so you're okay with all this? Huh. You do realize the reason you lost
And if I was
time,
sitting, and it's not personal preference, I think the risk of that downside is greater than the upside they get of letting the Maori Party walk with it, right? So I'd say if you were going to do a cost-benefit analysis, you contest the seat in a real way.
I'd agree. I'd agree.
How much might the relationship between John Tamahiri and Willie Jackson and Willie Jackson's power inside the Labour Party caucus be an influence on this? And is it at the end, would you imagine, Chris, Willie Jackson and the Maori caucus who make this call?
Well, from what I have been able to glean over the last year or so, Hipkin's position is largely at the beck and call of Willie Jackson, because Willie Jackson and the Maori caucus are a substantial chunk of the Labour caucus. Pacifica make up another chunk, and then there are one or two others who are strongly associated with Tipi. So what Willie decides kind of cascades down through Labour as a political organisation. And while Hipkins remains dependent on that Maori caucus vote, Willie's choices matter a lot. So we've got to ask ourselves, what's Willie likely to do? And if history's any guide, Willie would go hell for leather to take all the seats, as he did as the head of the Maori campaign in 2017. But there is a personal factor there between Willie and JT, which goes back a very long way. And Willie is a lot closer to where the Maori Party is in broad ideological terms than many other people in the Labour Party, as you would expect. I mean, he's been a pretty staunch fighter for the Maori cause for a long time, and so you would expect him to be Te Pāti Maori adjacent, if I may use a Jacinderism. But by the same token, he's also a very clear thinker in terms of political tactics, pretty ruthless thinker in terms of political tactics. And I think Willie, always important to bear in mind in these discussions, that he and his mum built up Muma, which is the, I think, Manukau Urban Maori Authority. And so he's urban Maori. He's working class Maori. And that was the way he pitched Labour's case to Maori voters in 2017. I mean, their advertising was great. I mean, I wish the Labour Party itself would advertise itself as effectively
as working class. Yeah, well, they used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, Chris, I want to cut to the chase on this slightly. Yep. I get the feeling Labour are going to contest. Do you get that feeling?
Kiwis love being outdoors, so why not transform your outdoor living space with a sun view? With our quality range of stylish pergolas, outdoor blinds and awnings, having a sun view is like adding a new room to your home, but for a fraction of the price. Enjoy the outdoors all year round with a range of products to suit your needs. Book a free consultation now with Sunview and see the difference.